Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your Manchester United versus Leicester City preview, but it's also three bits of news as well. Ahmad's return, a Sir Jim Ratcliffe statement that I actually agree with, oh my God, and also Fabrizio Romano identifying players that Manchester United are most likely to look at, what positions they're most likely to look at. We'll talk about that as well. Lots to get into. As always, get your comments in. Also got a bit of a shock about how I would line up against Leicester tomorrow, but let's do the Leicester bit, then we can get into the juicier bits around Sir Jim, Ahmad, and the targets that were the positions that we might be looking at according to Romano. So look, I don't like this. I've threatened the admin with the sack before for showing this on the screen. I find it embarrassing. I think it's bloody disgusting, but that is the Premier League table. That is where we're at. Now remember that for every position we move up, we get 3 million quid. So 34 points, 14th place. I don't actually think we'll get to 11th. I don't think we'll do 11th place, to be honest with you, considering that our next 3 league games or 4 league games, we've got City and Newcastle away. So I don't think we're actually going to accumulate enough points to start closing 5-point gaps. But Brentford as well, I think we're going to finish 13th or 14th. That's where I think. Get your comments in below. Let's have a prediction. Where do you think we're going to finish in the league? Because I think 13th or 14th, but we could actually drop down. We could actually go 15th, 16th when you look at Everton, West Ham. So it's all right looking up. Sometimes you've got to look behind you. That's what you have wing mirrors for. But look, Leicester, Ruud van Nistelrooy, I think they've lost their last 5 games in a row. They're not having a very good time of it, and I think I'd expect us to beat them. I think they've scored the second lowest amount of goals in the Premier League. Their home record, they've only got 9 points all season, with 2 wins, 3 draws. Away record for Man United this season is shocking, actually. The reason I wanted to go a little bit statistical is that we're actually 16th in the league for our away record. We've only got 14 points, 3 wins ourselves. So it's been a bad season in the Premier League. There's no two ways about that. But I would expect us to beat Leicester tomorrow, and that's why I actually want to see a little bit of rotation, as you can see there. Big game on Thursday, a lot of effort put in. I'd like to see a few rotations. I'd like to see some players playing for like an hour and then coming off. I would start Rasmus, but I'd be bringing Obi Martin on. I'd put Heaven on the bench, but I'd be bringing him on. I would be putting Garnacho on the bench, but I'd be bringing him on. And I think that, look, people might not like that 11, but I think it's a mix of giving people minutes and looking forward to April. So we know that Mason Mount's probably going to get 5, 15, 20, 25 minutes if he's on the bench. Harry Maguire, we know, is probably back, so give him 45 minutes. But Harry Amas on there, people might say, well, what's that all about? Well, Dorgu can't play because he's still suspended. It's his last game. And I just don't want to use Diallo on the left and Mazraoui on the right and then change the back 3 too much. So I'd keep Mazraoui right side centre-back. I'd keep Diallo centre-back in the centre. And then I'd play Maguire for half a game, bring Heaven on for another half a game. You've obviously got the option of Lindelof, but maybe he could come on second half as well. But Harry Amas has been on the bench and he is a left back. I just think maybe let's play the left-footed player there in a team that's quite experienced. So yeah, that's what I'm sort of thinking. I'm thinking like, when you look at it after April, we've got these big games against Lyon. We've got Premier League games that are going to be a hindrance in between that. We're going to have to rotate. Why wait till Newcastle away or Man City to rotate when we're going to have to rotate? Why not start doing it in the Leicester game so that these people are used to it? So I would use Amas. I would play Collier from the start. I would bring Obi Martin on at half time. I think we've got to start rotating. And obviously, I don't know whether he will do that, but it's going to be so important for us in April. I would expect us to win the game. I'm going to go Man United to win it 2-0. And obviously that would allow you to put Bruno. But look, players that aren't playing that could come on. Eriksen, Obi Martin, Mason Mount, Casemiro, Victor Lindelof, Heaven. So there's 6 players there off the top of my head that you could bring on. So I just think let's start rotating a little bit. We don't need to go strong. Everybody's put in a lot of effort. So let's start rotating a little bit. And I think we should have enough to beat Leicester. And if you could give like Obi Martin 45 minutes or Harry Amas 5 minutes or Collier 70, 80 minutes, they're going to get minutes against one of the worst teams in the Premier League that are going to benefit them, but also benefit us after the international break, that they've already had a few minutes. So that's what I'm thinking in this game. 7 o'clock kickoff on a Sunday night as well. A little bit weird, but we will be there for it. We will be there for it. Okay, I want to talk about a few other bits as well. The Sir Jim Ratcliffe comment that I liked, a bit about what Fabrizio Romano has said, and also the, well, we'll talk about it now. So Ahmad was pictured on Thursday night walking into Old Trafford without crutches or without a protective boot. There are now rumours that he could be back in training by the start of April. This would be a huge boost for Manchester United. Like, you know, I think this is like smash a like on the video time, because there was belief that he would be out for the season. But, and we've been in this position before. I remember the Europa League final when we had Bailly, Luke Shaw and Zlatan all on crutches against Ajax in the final. And players can be out for the season. Of course they can. We know Martinez is going to be in that position. But if Ahmad can get back, and I'm not saying get him back for Lyon. I mean, I think that would be, you know, pushing the boat a little bit. But if we can get through Lyon and he can be back for the semi-final, which is probably going to be Athletic Bilbao, which will be a tough game, Ahmad's been one of our best players this season. So I'm really not going to set any, you know, he's got to be back, he's got to be back. But if he could be back, this would be really, really positive for us. If we got knocked out against Lyon, I'd say take the rest of the season off. There's not really that much point rushing back, but it could be a real big positive for United. So let's just wait and see. There are those out there that are talking about a return in April, so that would be absolutely brilliant for us. So let's see what happens with that. Also, I just want to mention, I'm going to talk about the Sir Jim Ratcliffe comment, but this was something I missed from the morning show. So Fabrizio Romano has basically said that Manchester United's transfer priorities under Ruben Amorim this summer include striker, attacking midfielder stroke number 10, midfielder with Casemiro departing, and centre-back. Now that sort of fits in with what David Ornstein said last night about right wing back might not be the priority people think it is. So I'm wondering, look, some people call Ornstein and Romano client journalists now. I understand why. We know that Man United operate like that, and we know there's a lot of client journalists out there that don't really do journalism. They just do hand-me-downs. But Ornstein and Romano, in my opinion, are the two transfer expert journalists in the game, right? So what? Obviously, they're going to get information. They're very well respected. It's in Manchester United's interest to give them information. I wonder if they've both been briefed. Post the Kenda deal, have they both been briefed that, look, actually, that wasn't our priority position anyway. This is what we're really looking at. Because Ornstein's saying right wing back might not be a priority, and Romano, who dropped the Kenda news to Chelsea, is saying that striker, attacking midfielder and centre-back are the priority for United. Now, I can't remember what I said on the Friday night show, but I said my priorities would be centre-back, midfielder, right wing-back, and I think I said striker. I think I did. Someone in the chat will know. But what are your 4 priorities? And are you concerned that we're, you know, a lot of you are saying we'll only make 4 signings. If we're going to make 4 signings and it's a striker, attacking midfielder, and centre-back, that's the spine. You can't argue with that. That is the spine. But what I would also say is building a spine in a team is an age-old cliche, and you've got to have a spine, exactly. But the flip side to that is that Amorim's system is very much based on wide players, and we don't have an abundance of those. So I still believe that when you've got Dorgu, I don't really look, and maybe Ahmad, I don't look at beyond Ahmad and Dorgu. I don't actually see the type of player that suits the Amorim system. I don't think Diallo necessarily does, and I don't think Mazraoui necessarily does. So, and I certainly don't think Garnacho does. So I still think a wide player should be a priority, and I just wonder if it's because we've missed out on Kenda that we're actually now making out that it's not a priority. Maybe it will become a priority again when we land on who the alternative is. But we need a striker. We need an experienced striker. An attacking midfielder, look, we play with 2. So obviously the more of those you've got, the better. A midfielder to replace Casemiro has to happen. I know some of you like Casemiro, but whether you like him or not, he ain't getting any younger, and his wage is very prohibitive. So moving Casemiro out, even financially, they're going to do it. And I would agree that he needs to be moved on anyway. So we need a replacement there. And another centre-back does make a lot of sense. We play with 3. Maguire's not getting any younger. Lindelof's going to go. Johnny Evans is going to go. Heaven's very young. Yoro's very young. Martinez is injured. De Ligt and Mazraoui obviously have been very consistent, but I still think we need another centre-back. So I ain't massively bothered about those 4, but I still think a wide player, especially down the right-hand side, is a priority and will be a priority. So give us your comments on that. And I also want to talk about this comment. Look, as I've said before, I think the summer transfer window for Manchester United was very good. I'm not going to dispute that. It was an Ineos Glazer summer transfer window. But there's nothing wrong with that. Not everything's bad. Not everything is bad normally. There is normally a lot bad and something that you pretend is bad because you don't like the bad, and there might be something good there. It's like when you get a divorce or break up with somebody and go, oh, it was a bloody nightmare. There will have been moments where it was good. And I think with Ineos and the Glazers, we won the Champions League with the Glazers. We won Premier League titles with the Glazers. Might have been despite the Glazers, but we did win them. And I think it's impossible, the problems at Manchester United, to be completely useless. I mean, there's a few open goals that can be scored, and I think in the summer we did do good summer transfer business. So in light of that interview that we spoke about on the morning show, and I would urge you to watch that video, it was and still is, with the passage of time, absolutely shocking. You could say actually that interview that Sir Jim Ratcliffe did gets worse with time. You know, sometimes a bad football result gets better with time. I think that interview that Sir Jim Ratcliffe did with the Times it just gets worse with every viewing. I mean, every reading. I mean, to back the Glazers and say how good they are, it's just incredibly. The word that sort of comes to me is insulting, and it also shows that his priority is not to speak and build a relationship with the fans. It is to build a relationship with the Glazers. However, there was one bit in there that I could ignore and, not give it any sort of air at all. I could ignore it, and we could just focus on the majority of the Glazer glowing and say, what a prat, and all this, that, and the other. But there was something in there that I've said for a long time, and I know a lot of you have agreed with. And he did say it, and I'm not going to be that. I think we always have been for 10 years, very forthright in our opinion, but also fair. And as I say, not everything is bad. Sometimes there are bits in there where you go, actually, I think what he said about that, and that is horrific. But what he said about that, I actually agree with. Some would say, look, if you throw enough darts, you'll hit the bullseye with one of them. And maybe that's the case. But he did say, I do not agree with the idea that there are ups and downs with any club, that these things happen. Because if I look at Real Madrid or Barcelona or Bayern Munich, they remain at the top no matter what. And that's not the case here at Manchester United, because the club has been mismanaged and bad decisions have been made. I don't know whether you give him any credit for that. Personally, I would give him a little bit of credit. I mean, God, I still think it's absolutely horrific the way he's running the football club, and I don't think he's got a lot right, and I don't think he comes across like he knows what he's doing, and I think defending and praising the Glazers is abhorrent. But we have been saying this for a long time, and I don't know whether it changes anything. I mean, it could just be spin or not, but the reality is, we've said this for a long time, Manchester United is the Real Madrid of the Premier League. It is the Bayern Munich of the Premier League. It is the PSG of the Premier League. And what I mean by that is that France, PSG, Germany, Bayern Munich, Spain, Real Madrid, these clubs are huge, and they don't drop off to the bottom half of the table for 10 years. They don't drop off for that long. They don't drop out of being title contenders for over a decade. And I think that's what Sir Jim Ratcliffe's sort of alluding to, and it's something that we've been saying for a very long time. That should not have happened at Manchester United, and it has happened. And that is about mismanagement, and that is about poor decision-making. It's impossible how badly we've fallen. I mean, you could argue that it was impossible for us to get it this wrong. I mean, from where we were winning the Premier League under Sir Alex Ferguson when he retired to where we are now, it's beyond incompetence. It's beyond rubbish. It's incomprehensible how badly we've done over the last 10 years. Mismanagement, bad decisions. So I do agree with that. But the flip side of that is that we can all acknowledge that that should never have happened, and it would never happen to a Real Madrid or a Bayern Munich, which is what we should be. And it's fair to acknowledge, but what I would also say is that the plan to get back doesn't fill me with any confidence either. I don't think Bayern Munich or Real Madrid or PSG would say, let's cut half our workforce. Let's write off the next 5 or 6 years. Let's try and get back to the top by cutting costs. Barcelona haven't done that. They've pulled more levers than a bloody pinball machine, haven't they? And Real Madrid wouldn't do that. And, Real Madrid aren't going to say, forget Mbappe, forget Bellingham. We're going to cut half our staff. We're going to cut to the bone and we're going to work our way back slowly. So whilst I acknowledge that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is correct to say that you look at Madrid and Barcelona and Bayern and they wouldn't have let this happen, look at your plan, Sir Jim. I'll be honest with you, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Barcelona wouldn't follow the plan you're doing over the next 6 years either. So, yeah, again, good comment, but what you're doing, they wouldn't do either. So, that's my observations on that. And as I said, the interview, majority of it was hideous this morning, if I'm being honest. Anyway, lots for you to get your teeth into there. What do you think about the 4 positions that Fabrizio's spoken about? Striker, number 10, centre midfielder and centre-back. Are they the right 4 positions to be a priority? Ahmad back in April. How are you feeling about that? What we spoke about with Sir Jim there. And also Leicester. Do you agree with my team, which is more rotational, make more subs in the second half and start giving these rotational players more trust and more minutes that we're going to need to use after the international break anyway? But I fancy us to win. I mean, God, we shouldn't be losing to Leicester tomorrow night. Get your comments in. Make sure you smash a like on the video. Looking forward to reading those. And I will speak to you on the next one. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. And, don't forget, by the way, just very, very quickly before I go, Dublin show, links in the video description. You can scan the QR code next to me. I think we have got about 20 tickets left. So if you want to get one, it's going to be cracking. Wednesday night in Dublin, right in the middle of Dublin. So love to see you there. Get your tickets. Speak to you all in a bit. Take care.